welcome back to the Ronin campaign. It's been a long time, but we're going to continue the story in Sekai. When last we saw, there was the Barracuda had arrested a star reader, the notable Xing, and in an attempt to rescue him, Liu Shang and Kaori and a couple others had gone to spring him from jail, but he was unfortunately killed on the way out. A couple months have passed, and now I posted a kind of recap in our Discord, but the Queen is... The war is going on between the Queen versus the Barracuda, the false shogun. And there's kind of a stalemate on the western borders of Sekai, and the Queen wants to get her son back, Prince Oji, who's under the care of Liu Shangde and Sato. So our characters today are Kaori, we've got Odoru, how do you pronounce your own name?
That was
Kaede.
correct.
Odoru,
Oh.
Kaede, and we have Shangde, and we've got Chang. And we're going to jump right in. Kaori.
Yes.
You find yourself in a plain with tall grass. You're alone. You're striding through this field of almost like wheat. To your left and right, further into the distance, are just kind of rice fields as far as you can go. And while this scene has a familiar feel to you, it's nothing you've actually seen before. In the distance, you see the palace. It's the same palace that you've been in countless times. The brilliant red and gold, the banner of the sun flying on the top. And as you're kind of walking towards it, it seems as if no progress is made, and then you begin to see the fighting going on in the palace and the guards being cut down by the Barracuda's men. You begin to run, and again, just no progress is made. So you endlessly try to run towards the fighting. You pull out your bow, you string an arrow, and you see the banner fall from the top. And at the tip of the palace, you can see the Barracuda with his brother, your king, the shogun's son, being decapitated. With a scream, and you launch an arrow to no avail, and you awake.
Just another nightmare.
You're in camp. The camp is very small. There's only a few of you in this party. Already up is the guard, or now he's a samurai, Yoi. You've traveled with him ever since that fateful day in Yama village. And he's stoking a fire, grilling some sausage or some breakfast rations. He's already stoking it. It's pre-dawn. It's still dusk out. He had the last watch and got an early start to the day with the fire. And looking over in this kind of open tent, you've got a canopy over your sleeping pads. You see a couple other of these samurai that have come with you. They're more like guards. They're wearing just light leather armors. And then there's the elf that you're traveling with. And Chang, I'd like you to describe your character, please. I believe you're muted.
I believe I was muted. Chang has long black hair. He has it in a traditional bun on the top with the rest of it flowing down. He looks like he could be in his 30s. However, his pointed ears imply that he is probably much older than that. However, he has a very youthful appearance. His hair has yet to gray, so he hasn't started to reach his older years yet. But he doesn't look like the rest of the people around the camp that have been battle hardened and out camping in the dirt. He looks like he belonged in a school teaching a class, or maybe somewhere in a temple meditating. He has soft looking hands, but they're starting to get just the bittest of wear from his recent months of starting to, be outside of where he would have considered home before, and be with these people that are trying to right the wrongs that have been committed.
So altogether, I wouldn't call it a war party, but Kaori, you've been given this very specific and special assignment from the Queen herself to go back into enemy territory, to brave going through Sekai to find, Liu Shang, Sato, and then Prince Oji, and specifically to bring Prince Oji back to the Queen, who's kind of castled up in Busho province. But you've got Yoi, you've got Chang, and you also have 3 other samurai guards. So they're not like in full armor or anything, but they're kind of more soldiers. So your party of 6, and you're almost to the front. The middle of the mountains, the passes are just above you, and the war line where kind of the fighting is on pause, but there's the trenches, the towers, the palisade walls and spikes, and bodies in the no man's land in between, where previous charges and attempts to push back the lines have gone on for a couple months. So you're about to reach that point, and what I would like to know for Kaori, do you want to try to go find a way through enemy lines, or kind of circle around to a less active portion and sneak across into Sekai, or what would be your plan? Do you want to kind of go more stealth or more brute force?
As Kaori scans the horizon, what are we looking at for visible enemies? Are there any to be seen, or any signs of possible presence already, or no?
Depending on which route that you go. If you want to try to go more of a stealther route, you're less likely to encounter those, and it'd be kind of more like a survival type of role, which the other party members can also assist with if that's not your specialty. I don't remember if you have. I think you've got a pretty good survival. It'd be a stealth survival combination. You'd have synergy is what it's called. But if you wanted to go straight through, then there'd be kind of a combat with the Barracuda's men for sure, and then you'd have to just kind of like punch through and escape behind their lines and go into hiding on the road once you get through.
After kind of pondering the layout of the land, she would turn to Yoi and say, We'll prepare for travel around. If we can secure a route that is safe, we will have an easier way to make exit with the prince.
I agree.
Okay. So
I assume I'm in this conversation.
yeah, you're all
okay.
Like, this is the first light of dawn is kind of peeking up over the mountains, and it's earlier on this side than it would be to get into Sekai. But the first light of day has appeared, and you need to choose which direction. So as you're all eating, what do you want to do?
What I have been able to do, like a magic sense for like what kind of clusters of people there are across like different areas of land, just to like get basically a magic radar.
Yeah, if you want to try to sense out the areas, you can perform a ritual. As a star reader, you're trained in using magic without any sort of blade or anything. So it's a more powerful type of magic that you can do. So you need to roll your star reading ability.
Let's do some rolling. Yay.
Okay. So you only got 2 failures on your roll. That's a really good roll. And you have a special talent as a star reader, if I am correct, that ignores a point of burn. So you only really have to negate 1 burn, which would just take one success. I believe nullifying burn is 1 for 1 if I remember correctly. So that would bring you to 8 successes, which is very much enough to cast this magical spell as your aura senses everything in the vicinity: the deer, the rabbits, the people on the war front on the military lines, and I will have you actually with that roll, Kaori, if you want to roll a survival, you get a +4 because of Chang's magic guidance, and you also have a stealth skill. If your stealth is over a 4, you can have synergy, and you'd get an additional +2. So
There's a reason you brought me along.
There is. So my total ranks is 6.
okay, so you would get a +2 synergy for stealth and survival. It's kind of blending both of those capabilities into one roll. So 6 + 2 +4 with the star reading. So you get to roll 12 dice.
So would my modifier be
+6.
plus 12?
+6. So you're just roll survival +6, and that will roll 12 dice total. And that is a very good success. So your war party moves to the south a little bit, moving up through a very small, tight, almost more like a goat trail up over the mountains. You can see below this combat zone where there's the 2 war fronts, the 2 lines. It's impenetrable defenses on both sides almost, as you see the Ronin and samurai kind of just marching along. Just no action between them, but just kind of settling there. And with the last look, you begin your journey into Sekai, unseen by the enemy. Liu Shang Day.
Yep.
I would like to know, as this has been about 4 months since you saw Kaori last, and you were on that mission to bust out of the Star Reader out of prison. At that point, would you have gone back to Sato, or would you have fought a little bit more, or what would be his actions?
He would have gone back. If it was close, he might. I can't remember the name of the village we were initially in. If it was close enough, he might have gone to Greg. I'm going to pronounce this whole Genkyo's.
Oh, Gekido's? Yeah.
Gekio's. He may have gone to Gekio's last stand and kind of spent a night or a bit meditating or thinking about the past before returning. But
that's really cool, and that's absolutely, that was I believe Hoshi Village, and you can have a stat point for that because that's really cool. So yeah, as you go there, you can see that the village is flying the Barracuda's flag, but there's not really a whole lot. There's not a garrison there anymore. There's a monument in the center of the plaza. Once you pass underneath the gate, a statue has been roughly made of the Oni monster hunter. He stands about 9 foot tall on top of the pedestal. He stands easily above 12 feet above you. And as you're probably actually riding a horse, so it's about eye level for you. And you look him up and down as would you call him a friend for the time that you knew him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see Gekido. Following that, if you go back to your wife Sato, would you stay in a town or a village at this point?
I assumed they were already in a town because they stayed at home when he left off in second episode, and I assumed they would have a small hut, like maybe 1-2 room hut, small plot of land, him working at the stables or on a leather shop or on a farm.
Okay. So, as you come home, this map might be too big. Or your screen's
Yeah. That's probably more than he would, unless he's living with someone else, that's probably more than he owns.
Yeah, I was figuring you have like one of these houses would be yours. Do you want to have a little farm? Or a little... There.
I imagine
huge
he's
house.
got maybe a couple of donkey, or maybe a donkey or two, and some chickens, maybe a cow, but like not like a huge.
So yeah, choose your house. Which one do you want?
I don't really want some butchering stuff out. He's not so much into the butcher market. What's the smoke stuff over here? Is that like stuff cooking?
That looks like some sort of ladder down. It looks like a ladder up. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it's like what is it called? Becca, what do you make clay with? Kilns, maybe? Maybe that's a potter over there.
Probably, yeah. I would say it's a smokehouse to smoke meat so that they can preserve it over the winters. Probably one of them might be a kiln, but they seem more like smokehouses to me, where they would.
I think this one kind of looks nice.
Okay. So
Small, like stable enough for like one horse. For one horse, small yard with some chickens and laundry out in the back. It looks like someone's tanning leather on the back. I think took one rank in leather working. Well, this is probably over in this person's yard. Maybe could help with that.
I love how everyone's talking about elementary schools and real estate. I'm going to give you all style points for that, because I give style points when people make me laugh, by the way.
Thinking that I was kind of, if it is early morning, I was thinking he'd be out chopping wood.
Well, this is following the prison when you came back. So you come to see Sato kind of waiting for you, bouncing the little elf baby. He's only wearing hats that cover his ears at this age. He's about 2
No
years
diapers?
old. Well, yes, he's wearing clothing too. His ears are never exposed.
It's like,
so funny in chat.
My love, I've missed you so much.
Yeah, she gives you a big kiss and a hug, and you can see she's holding her tummy as well. You are staying in the village just outside of Edo.
This is the village. This is the big village. Oh, okay, just outside of Edo.
You're just outside of the city. The real estate was cheaper there, not being a walled area, which gives you a little bit more privacy and closer to the forests. People consider it more dangerous because exposed to potential monster attacks, raiders, bandits, all that kind of stuff. And so you're able to get a good deal, and you've been here ever since you left Iwaski's geisha temple, and it wasn't Iwaski's, but that's where you were put up. At this point, I think it's probably a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit more than that. So
there's only 6. We only spent 6 months in the capital.
Yeah,
from right.
Yeah, exactly. So from here, the next couple months go by, and it is a peaceful life. For Liu Shang Day, I would like you to roll stealth +2.
Stealth?
Yeah, if you have it, which I think you should.
Yeah, it's just like to blend in, or
Yeah.
I also have deception.
Whichever's better. Actually, if they're both over 4, you can have synergy and get the +2. Because kind of
Deception is at 6 and stealth is at 5.
Okay, so roll deception +4, because you're also getting a +2 from Sato's help. She's assisting you. Okay, so nobody knows that baby OG is an elf. You've become kind of a part of the community, at least over here. You're known in the town too whenever you go in for market day and whatnot. But yeah, life goes on until you get word. It is someone riding into the village over where you live here.
I do have a question. How common of a name is that?
What name?
Odin?
Oh, OG?
OG, yeah.
I forgot what it means. Let me see.
And I was thinking, I mean, if it's known what his name is, I was thinking that they might call him like O-O-N or O something else, so it's close, but people
Is
aren't
he
gonna
under a
like.
year old?
Yeah,
He's
that's a
2
good
years.
point.
He's 2 years now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
It would be
Okay.
between 1 and 2 though, or yeah.
Something like still starting with an O, but like changing the last syllable a little bit, to so if people don't if the printed name is known publicly.
It would be, because it was a massive celebration when he was born, because for Shogun's son, he was like the ruler for 500 years without an heir. And so once they finally had one, there was a huge, big celebration. That's when the Barracuda was like, no.
So I was thinking like Owen or Wan or something like that.
Yeah, if you want to
Wait.
call him Owen, that's fine. It doesn't all have to be super Asian.
Owen would make sense considering that you both are human.
So you kind of, he goes by Owen. That is now canon. There is so you're just here actually. Now that I think about it, you won't get a message. There won't really be a way for them to send you a message. So you're just here. Kaori just kind of knows roughly where you're staying, and so her group is headed for you.
I assume this is my horse. I can't remember I named it.
They should have names on there.
They do, but
Buro
it's
and
been
Zansu.
it's been years since it's been years since I was, or maybe not years, but it's been a long time since I've realized the name of the horse. But I remember spending my last coin on horse feed, or one of my last coins on horse feed when I first met Kaori.
I remember that.
I rolled really low on his initial starting money.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, Owen, that's awesome. Oh, I typed it with 2 big O's, so whatever. Okay. Who do we have next? Odoru. Would you please describe your character for us as we see you kind of hiking the mountain trail over the pass?
Yes. Odoru, Hanabira. They're a very androgynous looking figure. Very hard to tell whether they're male or female. Especially since the armor covering them doesn't really give away any of the features, nor does their soft looking face tell either. But they are instantly recognizable as an elf due to their pointed ears, which they do not cover. Unlike what the token shows, they have a leather piece of front armor strapped to them with some slight iron pieces combined into it. Simple looking clothing underneath the armored pieces of bluish, kind of pinkish coloring, and they have leather arm guards across both arms. Across the chest armor is a painting of pink flowers flowing across the right side up towards the neck, and across the pauldron seems to be a written symbol of some kind, which to them, if I'm remembering correctly, is translated to Monster Hunter. And lastly, on a side piece of their armor is another painted symbol, one of a large reddish flower blooming, which to anyone who would know nobility seems to mark a noble house that they came from.
So coming down from the northwest.
Can I just, real quick? Your hairstyle implies that you are a male. Just your hairstyle. Wait. Yeah, that's a guy's hairstyle. Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe it isn't.
Oh, under disguise.
Listen, I could be pulling a Mulan story right now.
Totally could be pulling a Mulan story.
Very much could be either way. Calm down. So we see Odoru coming down from the northwest, from the Bushi province, to Sekai. And as you kind of get to this northern border, you're coming home. It feels like welcome back to where home's always been. And after being gone for how long have you been gone at this point?
They have been gone on their hunt for around, I believe it was something between 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. So, seeing the familiar mountains in the pass, it's a welcome sight. However, as you begin to make your descent after getting to the top of the pass and the crest, you see the land of Sekai before you. You see armed militia, spearmen, a wagon, kind of a temporary fort or more like a watchtower. And as you are making your way down, they seem to approach you. There's 4 of them total. Here, so let me double the tokens. And they call out, "Halt! You wish to enter Sekai?" It's more of a question.
They would respond in a kind tone. Yes, I have not been home in some time. It'd be nice to return.
Very good. And 2 of them begin to approach. They're not aggressive towards you, but as they come up, they begin to kind of questioningly look at your armor and your lack of a banner attached to no horse. "Well, what is your name, sir?" And he says that almost questioningly, kind of assuming your gender.
How dare now!
I attack him.
I attack him. My name, I'm Odoru Hanabira. May I ask yours?
I'm Sai, a guard posted here by the Barracuda himself. It is an honor to serve. Now, please confirm your fealty to our good Shogun, the Barracuda.
You'll have to accept my apologies. I wasn't aware there was a new shogun. You see, I've been in these lands for the past couple of years.
Well, for the past couple of years, we have a new shogun in Sekai. I'm sure you are familiar with the Barracuda, Shogun Moon. At this, the other 2 guys start to come up too, but still standing kind of in the background, letting Sai do the talking.
I again offer my apologies. I'm not well aware, and Odoru will kind of point towards their shoulder pauldron, the leather shoulder pauldron, to make note of the symbol, and say, perhaps one of you would be able to catch me up. You see, I am with the monster hunters. I haven't been in lands for a long time. I do not know of any recent news. I've been away on a hunt.
Well, you're more than welcome to head down to Edo, the town at the bottom of the pass. We don't have anyone here who can take your oath of fealty for the Shogun, but we can take you down to the village, to the town, or you could surrender your weapons. We can hold them for you until you've had a chance to pledge your service to our mighty Shogun.
I see. I would hope that your mighty Shogun, perhaps even my mighty Shogun, would understand that a monster hunter needs their weapons, and if it means an escort to town, I would gladly accept that instead for now, for the time being.
Yeah, he kind of like holds up his hand at first, going to interrupt, but as you kind of continue talking, roll a diplomacy check for me.
Okay.
He kind of looks back to his comrades and then back over to you. We can take the wagon. Jerry and I can take you. We will need your weapons in the meantime. Monster hunter or no, there are no Ronin allowed in Sekai any longer. We are currently at war with the rebellion, and we cannot have any adversaries roam the land in freedom. Of course, once you've completed your oath of fealty, we may have your weaponry back.
I understand. Before I give forth my weaponry, I do have a question. As I have returned from my hunt, do you have anyone? Usually there if my old memory suits me, and it is still correct, there are usually those who accept bits and pieces of these creatures for sale. Is there anyone I could talk to?
In Edo, when we take you there, first we can speak with the magistrate and the moon reader, and I'm sure if you've got, he looks at your bag, probably full of like pelts, tusks, all kinds of interesting specimens. You can offload your wares down in the town. So the two, the one spearman in the back, he begins to go get. They've got like probably a mule and the cart ready. The two other guards will stay here at the checkpoint, and if you are willing, they will allow you to get into the wagon. They do require you to disarm. They won't ask for your armor. What kind of armor do you wear also?
It is full leather.
Okay. So you're
basically what the token shows, except replace all of that like iron and steel with leather.
Okay, so it's not like the full samurai regalia, like head plate.
No.
Stuff. Yeah, so you don't have to take any of that, your armor off, but they will take your weapons. What do you give them? They obviously can see that you have a polearm, and if there's any blades on your belt.
Yes. Odoru would wrap up their weapons. Wrapping up the naginata, the polearm, which I imagine they've been using as kind of like a Gandalf walking stick. They do have their tanto on their side in the sheath. And they also have their a quiver and a bow over their shoulder.
Okay. And is there anything you wish to hide from them, or no? Are you acquiescing?
The only thing that I guess would be considered hidden would be their blowgun, but that would be in one of their pouches, not on their person. So unless they do a pat down.
No. Go ahead and roll a stealth, and you can take a +2 because they're not really they're not looking for a non-bladed weapon. Technically, a blowgun would be legal anyways.
Okay, so stealth +2.
Okay. Yeah. So as you get on board the wagon, two of the spearmen begin to kind of ride with you, and they will give you a very slanted accounting of events of the past couple years and the Barracuda's rule. Go ahead and roll an empathy check.
I'm curious how they say the Shogun died. I'm really curious.
Oh, there was an attack on the Barracuda, obviously.
Attack on the Barracuda or the Shogun?
The Shogun tried to kill his brother, the Barracuda, or something like that. I don't know if they would
just
to try to hide that.
Just a one success, but I've been gone for 3-4 years.
Yeah. I don't think they necessarily really say anything about what triggered everything, but that there's the rebels and are like a massive menace and stuff like that. So that's they fill your ears on the way into town. And last but not least, Kaede. With what's recently happened for you, would you try to avoid settlements, or would you go in? There's a certain amount of necessity to go and get things.
I wouldn't feel any need to avoid any settlements at all.
Okay.
Like, even if there's guards posted, even if there's like a whole platoon, like, I really wouldn't care.
Okay. So, with that, the people don't really look at you normally. There's just something about you. The way whenever you move around, you don't really seem to fit in Edo. But let me move you over. And right off the bat, I need to check something very quick, and then for your flaw. Actually, I might need to restart that. Where are you living in the town or out of the town? I think I misread something in your story, and I thought it was that you were like more staying away from large areas.
She probably wouldn't mind sleeping out in the wild, but she probably wouldn't be opposed to sleeping at an inn or something. She might play her bamboo flute for, some spare money just to sleep under a roof if the weather's bad, but she's not really bothered either way.
Okay. How about I have you roll a survival check really quick?
Fair.
Okay. So the area around here, you're very in tune with a lot of the goings on in the forests and kind of the mountain pass just up the mountain, up the road. You're aware that there's a lot of monsters that have been grouping up in this vicinity, typically coming out only at night, but it's not like super safe to be out there that much. So if you come into the city and kind of play for coin and stuff, go ahead and roll a performance check as well. Okay. And you're probably doing that at the tea house.
Oh, pretty.
Probably. Maybe this isn't the place I thought it was. Yeah, people come here and have tea, and so that's where you can raise some money.
Okay.
While you're sorry, I'm trying to find what I thought I had read in your backstory. I apologize.
No, that's good.
Not as ready as I thought I was. And also, I was definitely thinking of the inn, not this map. So I'm gonna move you.
Whee! It's probably what Kaede does on a regular basis anyway.
Just go and explore. So yeah, so you can be over here on the stage, performing. There's a lot of patrons around, a lot of villagers, and the tone in the village is pretty muted. You would know also that there's about to be like a harvest party or a harvest festival as you're getting into fall. All the fields are ready to be cleared out from their wheat and rice and whatever other produce that they have. Do you cast any magic? That's really what I'm looking for.
I think I might, if there's any members of the Barracuda's guard, any officers Whoops. What happened? Did I drop?
No, you're here.
Oh, okay. I would probably try to listen in on their conversations, and if I needed to tip things to my favor using magic, I might do that.
Okay, so go ahead and roll a investigation.
Okay. Investigation.
So yeah, there's it's just a town guard, not so much the Barracudas, but there's a few of these guys who are kind of talking, and you're not playing like very loud, boisterous music, so you can actually still hear over your own string. It's a stringed instrument, right?
Oh, I had swapped it out for a bamboo flute because I realized the koto is huge.
Okay, so you're playing the flute, and you can hear these guys talking about almost nervously that the Barracuda is supposed to have like a regiment arrive later today, and it's not something that, even though they're already like the militia town guards, it's not something they're really looking forwards to. With a 5 investigation, the Barracuda is coming in to do almost like a draft. They're looking for more people to serve in the Imperial Army. And so they're having kind of lunch, nervously talking about that, how they hope that everything goes smoothly and they don't end up having to do anything further than what they're already doing as town militia, that they don't get drafted into the service of the new shogun. And they expect that to be kind of by end of day, this regiment is supposed to come in to town. And your services to the tavern, they give you like food for free and stuff. The entertainment is kind of its own payment, and the people in the area enjoy having your music, and it is a good day with a kind of unfortunate looming, not doom, but there's going to be a lot of like soldiers about to arrive.
Kaede thinks this is a really good opportunity.
Is there any preparations you want to take in the hours ahead?
I think I would want to try to figure out details of where exactly are they going to stay. Are they going to stay in town, or are they just going to come in with some brute force platoon, say, hey, join us, and then leave? Or are they going to like set up camp outside the town?
How do you want to go about getting this information? Actually engaging with conversation with them, or more like still just trying to listen to them on their own?
I think I would like to insert these questions into their thoughts so that they just talk about it.
Okay.
Like the word, oh, where are they gonna stay? Or like the phrase, where are they gonna stay, kind of appears in one of their heads.
So this is going to be a magic check if you want to try to not like mentally inspire them, like inception them to discuss certain things. So I will have you roll your first star reading.
Okay.
Okay. And then with your special abilities, that's 7 successes. So you kind of plant the seed for all the questions that you want to ask, and they kind of gear their conversation towards that anyways, and you find out that the samurai from the Barracuda, they might actually stay here at this inn and bathhouse, but the bulk of their army is supposed to set camp out near the villages on the exterior side of the wall, and so that's where the base of the troops are going to be. And of course, they're going to probably rally a big all hands meet in the town center in front of the pagoda for them to see all the able-bodied men and women who might be available for a draft.
Okay.
But the actual army itself is going to stay outside near the Ada village.
Okay. And that would be like down here. I see some buildings down here.
It's kind of like the number 7 spot.
Oh, the number 7 spot. My character sheet was blocking it. There we go. Okay.
There we go.
All right, good to know. And then the bathhouse that I'm at is this one right here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the inn.
Sounds good.
So we're going to jump back to Kaori and crew as you've made your way down from the pass, down from the mountains into Sekai. You've avoided patrols and any samurai. There is one group of armed people that you end up spying on the road, but they are not wearing any banners. They're Ronin, or maybe bandits. Would you wish to do anything with them? Or do you just want to hide off to the side of the road and let them pass?
I think the decision that would be made would be to hide off on the side of the road and let them pass, but make note of what they look like and if they have any distinguishing marks on them, in a chance that maybe on the way back they could be swayed to offer possible security to cross the border.
Okay. Yeah, roll a perception check. And also an empathy.
Okay, I have a total of 5 for empathy.
Okay, so you can roll them as separate because perception, I would like to still see that, but you can roll empathy and perception separately.
Okay, got it.
If we roll for hide, I would have done a spell to try to increase our chances of going unnoticed.
So that's perception.
I'd say that might be necessary with the perception.
So if there's a +2 next to perception, does that mean that I roll an additional +2 for my mod?
For where does it say +2?
Empathy. So it says base level. It says base levels, rating, and then average.
Yeah. So hold on. I'm not seeing where that is. So if you're on your skill page, it should say empathy level 0, and then 4 int, 1 rank, 5 total is the rating.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one next to it is just like it's just dividing everything by 2. So your average in that skill is a 2. It's 2 plus. Plus means you'd have to roll 1 die to see what the average is, whether it's 3 or 2. So
Gotcha.
Basically that last column you don't really need to ever look at unless we're doing averages.
4. Wow.
Okay. So for the perception, you don't see them coming until almost like it's too late, but Chang is able to cast a spell which allows you to build like an invisible barrier or something in front of you, enough for you to all get off the road in time. And as the people walk by, for an empathy of 4, you can tell that they are indeed Ronin. They're masterless samurai. They did not ever give up their weapons to the Barracuda, and they are not rebels either, so that kind of puts them in the bandit territory. And they seem pretty gruff, worse for wear, not really having much resources left, and they're heading in the opposite direction, but they don't look friendly at all at the same time. So.
Okay. Yeah, Kaori would just signal to the group to stay still until they've fully passed, and then to continue onwards, but not engage the Ronins.
Okay. So you let them kind of pass by, and once the coast is clear, Chang, is there any special look that happens when you're casting your magic? Or what does it look like for you to do this?
He probably looks up at the sky, and it's probably a little bit weird for him because he likes doing it preferably in night, but he looks up at the sky and calls, probably not out loud, but like in his head he would call out to the sky for whatever he would need at that particular moment. And I don't know how much of it would be visible. I feel like at night it would be it was probably just like a subtle glow that he has, probably more in his eyes, or as he's summoning magic.
Okay.
Nothing overly the top at this point.
Okay. So after the bandits pass, you all get back on the road and you begin to make your way up from the south towards the kind of more northern town of Edo. And it looks like you're probably going to get here about end of the day, kind of just a couple hours before dusk. You see the town coming up ahead. You know that Liu Shang Day, his home is here. What would be your plan? How do you want to go in and find him?
I think the initial plan would be to skirt the outside of the village and look for any points of entry that are not covered with guards. So that would be something that she would send the samurai to do. Stay low, stay hidden, look for an entrance inside the city. Go. You that way, you that way, you that way. And she just very, very solemnly gives the order of direction for them to scope out.
Okay. Do you want to send Yoi out too, or just the three?
No, Yoi will stay with us.
Okay. So you see up ahead is the kind of a bridge. It's a drawbridge, but it's all down. And there's indeed the southern entrance is guarded by a couple village militia. You can all roll perception checks, actually, Chang included.
Yay, Chang!
Here is Yoi's. So, Kaori and Yoi, you're both kind of watching in there's another like 4 guards, 2 on each side of the gate, that they're just idly standing by. Chang notices that their colors and stuff, they're not really wearing the Barracuda's livery or anything. They are just town militia. So it's not so worrisome, you don't think, Chang, that these are going to be people that would stop you and arrest you so long as you don't have any red flags. Obviously, if you walk in wearing a bunch of weaponry and stuff, there probably would be trouble, but you could probably stealth in through the front gate if you wanted to pretty easily, you think.
Would you like me to cast magic so that way we look like normal people as we go in?
At this, Kaori just kind of looks past Yoi to Chang and gives him a couple blinks of kind of surprise. You would think after traveling for a couple months with Chang and him doing magic, it would be something that she's used to, but outside of her own magic, it wasn't something that she was commonly around as a general. But after a small moment of a stare, she kind of processes what he says and gives him just a very short but firm nod. And as the samurais circle back around to give their reports, she gives a very quick hand gesture to tell them to hurry back over.
Okay. When they come back, would they have pointed out the town down here?
So the 2 people who are going over take a little bit longer. This samurai, he's going to have tried to swim across, which maybe is not the most greatest
Stupid
idea, but he doesn't want to go over by the bridge. So
dumb.
Let me roll really quick his athletics.
I swear to God, if I lose my first samurai because he drowns.
2. That's gonna be enough, but he will need to roll a stealth check too, because that's the whole
Roll for
reason he's
drowning.
going.
Can he just drown and not have to roll a stealth check?
Well, he made it across just barely with it too. Okay. Swimming across at a place where there's no guards, he's lucky, especially since it's light out. But yeah, he gets over here, dripping wet a little bit. And then by the time he comes back, this guard to the this would be the east, he's taking a bit longer to come back. The guard from the west does come down with a report. So Samurai B, he's wet, dripping, shaking out his gloves of the water, and he says, "General Yan, the walls look easily climbable. With the right approach, if we wait till dusk, we can climb over without a problem." And he salutes, kneeling.
He gets a firm, approving nod, but no vocal response. But it's probably more than he's gotten before.
Samurai A comes running up behind him and also kind of crouches and puts his fist up to his heart. "General Yan, it looks like there's more guards. The Barracuda's men are coming from the west. They're coming down from the pass. They have what looks to be a samurai with them."
Who? Were you able to make out who it was?
"I don't know. She wasn't wearing any sort of colors. Maybe it's a Ronin, but they don't let Ronin in here, so it must be one of the Barracuda's men."
Good report. And then she will turn back to Yoi. Probably shocking that samurai that he got a positive response or verbal response.
He's just nodding and good. She's in a good mood. About this. Go ahead.
Chang would wait for the last person to arrive back before casting it, because I would want to cast on all of them.
Okay. So you want to wait just for a moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Kaede. It's a little after lunch at this point, and you have kind of finished with the afternoon crowd. Your music is done. You've overheard kind of everything you think is going to be happening. What I forgot to have you do is roll your stealth check, since you were actively performing magic while you were doing that in a tavern.
Oh, okay. So if I can't, I was hoping to weave it into just the instrument playing.
Yeah, that's definitely what you were doing, but
okay.
still roll a stealth
But it's still
check.
really obvious.
It's not
Okay,
necessarily obvious, but for someone who's watching or looking, they might notice something happening.
All right. Well, I mean, low stealth, but here we go. I might have to burn a style point here.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can spend as many style points in a roll as you want.
Yeah, I'll burn one.
Okay. So you just click on the coins, drag one onto the screen, and then normally you do that by putting it in the modifier, but you can just use the Roll20 dice roll and just click any dice, and if it's an even, then that's a success positive, and if it's a negative, then it's a failure. That's like the quick cheat. So that would be a failure.
Okay.
So as you are about to leave the tavern, you notice immediately there's two of the Barracuda's men are here. Not the village guards, but actually the militia from the Barracuda. And they are coming up towards you like they had been waiting for you to exit the tavern. And they look like they're about to start trying to grab you. Like they're coming with purpose to grab you by the arms and hold you.
I'm gonna. So they're waiting for me to come out. I'm gonna walk back in, but as soon as I walk back in, I'm gonna duck into a dark corner and try to make myself invisible.
Okay. So I will have you roll an initiative.
Okay. Regular 2. Oh, should I have clicked on myself before I rolled that?
Yeah, but I didn't even have it open yet, so that's fine.
Oh, okay. Should I just change this to a 2?
What happened?
I can roll again.
You should be able to just
dial?
edit that yourself.
Dial points have initiative?
I'm not sure why that happened.
Oh.
Yeah, if it's whatever token you click on, and technically the style points show up as a token. Where did you put the token?
Oh, maybe that's why. Maybe I clicked on because the last thing I clicked on was a style point.
Where'd you put the style point, or does it delete
Oh,
it?
I put it back on the deck. On the Ronin style points.
That's so funny. Why is this token named Akra Eni? Well, I guess that's
Okay, well, anyways.
I guess that's his.
Let's get rid of that. That's funny.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yeah, you win the initiative with a 4/4, so you kind of dart back into the tavern. They kind of lunge forwards towards you, following. What's your movement speed?
Oh, it's only a 3.
So if you've got a move of a 3, they are probably going to catch you with a move of a 5. So roll 1 acrobatics check.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. No.
Ooh. If you don't have any acrobatics, then yeah, you try to lunge to get away, and you feel an iron fist kind of clamp around your arm, yanking you back. And yeah, before you get a chance to kind of like do anything else, the other one's on you, and you feel yourself being seized by these guards. You are under arrest in the name of the Barracuda on suspicion of sorcery witchcraft.
But I don't have anything to cast magic with.
Silence, witch! And you feel yourself being like manhandled back outside of the tavern, and like marched. One guy holding you each side. You're almost being lifted up.
May I call upon my resource to help get me out of this?
You may.
All right. So first check.
So beginning a resource would be diplomacy, and
Yep,
I need to know
got
what
it.
you're saying.
I'm gonna say. Okay, so I have to instruct it with what I want it to do, right?
I'd say the first thing is like just asking it for help. Like, what would they see, or what would the random person on the side see, or is it something else? How do
Okay.
How do you?
I think I would be asking my resource. Things are getting a little sticky. Get me out of here.
So go ahead and roll your diplomacy. That's very good. That's a max roll, isn't it? Or no, you got a couple things, but that's really good. So immediately, there's kind of like a whir and like a blur behind you. How would you describe this forced spirit?
I think. Well, the spirit is usually very small, but if I could describe how exactly it's getting me out of this.
Yeah, basically they will dishand you. Like, so you are
okay. Yeah.
So tell me
I
what happens.
I would probably have this resource look like me and running in the other direction.
And in the beginning, there's kind of like a poof, where like a rush of air like hits them in the face, and they kind of like start to look back, and they see you running in the opposite direction, and they let go for a second, and that gives you a second to make a break for it, basically.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna. Could I say that spirit obviously looks magical? Like it has an aura around it.
Oh, it definitely is. This is kind of like a face spirit, if you will. So it looks like you, but it almost is like trailing
Okay,
sparkling like light.
I'm gonna
almost.
try to convince these guards. There's your witch.
Roll a con check.
Okay, I can do con. Yep.
That's going to be enough for them to like kind of look back. One of them immediately starts chasing after the Kodama, and then the other's kind of like confused a little bit, but it's enough for you to start running if you want to get away from these guys.
I think I want to ham on the fact that like I'm being framed and that this guy is like I get what he's doing, but it's like, sir, I'm obviously not the person you're looking for.
Okay, if you're not running away, then he's not chasing after the thing the same way the other guy is, and he's not gonna like grab you the same way. And then we're gonna pause with your scene for a second, as the doors to the gates open. The village guards allow the wagon to ride through with Odoru. You hear a little bit of like shouting just down the road from where you're at.
If I hear the shouting, I would just ask the guards I'm with, are you sure that this is a safe town? Doesn't sound like it. You did promise me safe lodgings.
Indeed, there is safety in this town. What's going on? And he like tries to look down. He'll jump out, one of them, and he's gonna try to see what's going on. The wagon kind of like pauses while they're waiting on this. Do you just want to remain and just kind of wait to see what's going on?
What is it like? What's the wagon layout? Like, am I sitting in the back with my gear and those two were in the front?
It's like a common area cart. So there'd be like a chariot, a deep chariot, where one guy is holding like the reins in the front, and there's like two benches on each side.
Okay, so then I assume the guy controlling the chariot is still there.
Yeah, he's like in the front, so technically he'd be.
Here. I would try and see what's happening. I mean, it's been a while since I've been to a town. I am myself curious of the commotion.
Okay, so you begin to come down, following the guard, and your weapons are still in the chariot. So as you begin to make your way down towards this commotion with Kaede, the Kodama, the spirit, leads this guy on a chase, which basically like goes back inside the inn through like a back door, and he finds himself like in the middle of a crowd, and the spirit's nowhere to be seen. He's looking around, and Kaede, the other one, is confused, but he's looking at you with suspicion again. But he's
I mean, I'm not running, I'm not resisting. It's like, that was so frightening.
Doesn't know what to make of this. This is... Someone said that you were doing magic, but something was doing magic, that's for sure.
Oh, certainly, that thing wasn't normal.
What's going on? And when the second Barracuda's man comes out from around the corner. There's a witch in here somewhere. Someone was casting magic. He turns around and he sees Odoru behind the guy, and he immediately like flips his spear back onto his front, pointed towards you.
Wait, Odoru is unarmed though, right?
No, she's Odoru is not armed.
Yeah,
Okay,
and I'd see this, and I would say, no need for that. I'm traveling with your fellow soldier here. Just curious about the commotion.
The one who's right next to you kind of waves his hand at the other guard. She's not a witch. She's a Ronin. She's going to pledge fealty to the shogun. And the first spearman guy seems to like relax, put his spear back around his behind him, and seems to have almost forget the whole thing that just happened. Well, you were wanting to go to the Star Reader then, or not to the Moon Reader?
If that is what is needed, yes. Do these towns normally have witches?
No,
This
but
is my first time here.
do you have experience with witches?
No, but I have experience with monsters, and I know how to tell when a monster carries magic with them. This is what I was trained to uncover.
He nods, acknowledging what you say. Kaede, what are you doing at this point? He doesn't seem to be like trying to arrest you anymore.
I'm just following, like, I'm mirroring his energy, and it's like, oh wow, maybe we can get this Ronin to help us find the witch.
So they bring the wagon down, and the commotion kind of is ended. The second guard comes out. They just kind of seem to almost like abandon this line of searching, having been convinced that whatever it wasn't you. Liu Shang Day. Around dinner time, what would you be doing?
Dinner time. I imagine Sato is preparing dinner, and I'm not actually a farmer, so but I don't know. We might have been working with the leather. I'm imagining this is a tanner. Might have been working over there, or grooming the horse, taking care of the stables.
Okay. Roll a perception check for me.
Although he might not want to be dealing with horse stuff right before dinner, so he might be working over the tanner, his neighbor, the tanner.
So you hear in the distance kind of the thud, thud, thud of marching. And I think with your experience, you recognize the sound of an army when you hear it.
He would put the tool down and tell his neighbor, who would probably and say, "It's like, well, I think I need to help Sato with the dinner. I can finish up. Tomorrow. These look at that. These, I'll be here. You have a good evening."
Gives you a big firm handshake and it's like, "Thank you for your help, Liu Shang Day. Once again, you are the most noble of neighbors."
Second only to you.
He hangs up his big leatherworking gloves and goes into his own house for dinner. But yeah, as you're going back home, you hear that boom, 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 boom of marching.
He grips his bow staff, which he keeps with him most of the time, and he gets back into the house and looks if there's any curtains, starts to draw them.
Yeah, Sato is bringing out some food. OG's in a little baby chair at the table already. Or Owen. It's like, "Dinner's ready, honey."
Thank you. Thank you, dear. Look slowly. Something going on outside. Should stay inside. Stay inside and he probably have a quick bag packed somewhere, and be ready to move if necessary. But after everything should just for now, let's just enjoy dinner.
So you have a seat, trying to ignore whatever might be occurring.
He checks out the window a little bit in the direction he heard the noise heard, and then goes back to living to his normal dinner, normal life.
Yeah, as you peek out, you see formations of spearmen and a couple horsemen and some people kind of marching up the road towards the town. It's definitely the Barracuda's colors. You see a couple different flags being flown. One is of the moon, one is of the Barracuda, the fish, the old banner. But there's definitely an army coming, and they're making
Like on this road or like up here.
Yeah, this road, coming up towards the city.
Okay.
It doesn't. They're in between the streams and the river, so it looks like they're making their way here.
I was wondering about that. Okay, so this stream seems to come in one side and go out the other. Which way does it flow, and what is Building 3?
Building
'Cause it
3 is a geisha residence, and
okay.
I think it flows top down because it reconnects with the river on the north end of the map, and so it kind of flows all the way through. So it's flowing. Yeah, exactly.
Comes in there and flows out this way, and services. There's like pretty trees along it, and then services the geisha house. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I
It
imagine
probably also doubles as like a wash house.
Oh. No. Does Seattle have any connections there, or have we severed those connections to stay hidden?
She probably knows the people there, but she's no longer a geisha. So, if you needed to, you could go in there. Like your connections with Sato and Iwasuki to the geishas is still active. Iwasuki's network is still a resource that you could all use.
But now he just keeps his ear open and keeps the bow. Leaves the bow staff in an empty chair, and then leaning against where it's quick to grab and just keeps them there and goes back to dinner. They said they have no reason to bother them.
Okay, so having waited for the third samurai to return, Kaori, you and the two others, Yoi and then also Chang, are kind of perched at the almost like under the bridge or kind of nearby, just out of sight on the river line or something. There's probably plenty of with this being like end of summer, the growth on the riverbank is pretty high. There's a lot of foliage, so you can hide out there near the bridge before you want to go in. But then the third samurai comes kind of hurrying back, and he kind of crouches down next to you with out of breath. General, there's an army coming. It's the Barracuda.
How many?
There's... I didn't get quite a full count. Maybe 200, maybe 160. There's a few samurai coming with them. It's not just their troops.
It's not just troops. Interesting. Would Kaori be able to distinguish, knowing that it's not just troops that are coming, that this isn't a stopover to the war zone? Does it seem like it would actually be involved, like something else would be involved with this?
Roll, I want to say this would be warfare.
Could I roll the same thing since I'm listening in?
Yes.
5.
Okay, so definitely if there's like between like 150 200 troops, it's the first inclination is that it's a reinforcements to the war effort, to the front lines. But if they were coming from like the capital, you're going up to this city. I know I don't have like a world map, but it would not be a straight shot to go here and then to the war effort. So more like, yeah, it's maybe, especially if they're sending samurai, which would kind of be like sending you with a detachment of reinforcements. You're a general. It's kind of like it doesn't seem like this is going to be just sending troops down there. This is probably for something else. For that many troops, it's probably also more than one samurai. If you were to be in charge of a group of people, it might be like 50 to 100 people seems about right. And so for it to be like almost 200, then there's probably several people there. So like several different detachments of troops, all headed by like a samurai general.
Okay, got it. Is the chaos that is happening inside reflected by the people at this end of the gate?
Roll a perception check. And
Sure.
Chang, you can do that too, actually.
Average 3.
Yep, that's good. So the guards their attention is focused inward, yes. It's not so much that there's like screaming and running around at that point for anything, but it's kind of near enough where they're on alert looking for something. Maybe one of the guards heard the cry for there's a witch in there, but they're all focused inwards. For Chang, I think you could probably see them looking definitely towards like where the commotion is, veering this direction. And I think if you're talking, you're muted.
Would Samurai C inform us about a village outside the village?
Yeah, if you ask him like what's up there, he'd say there's a village, there's an exterior settlement just outside of the town walls up there.
Okay. Would it be safer to get information inside the village or nearby where guards are going to be going?
We'd have to swim the river, and then he pauses and looks at Samurai B.
If we're going to go into town, we should make haste while the guards are distracted. I think this is going to be our best bet. You said, Chang, that you can do magic to help us get in there more efficiently?
Yes. Hey, Adrian, does the holding hands thing apply?
Remind me what holding hands.
For any spells that are distance, having contact with said person helps decrease the level of difficulty, or is that not a thing in this?
I'd say yeah, you could do that if you're all like forming a line together, like linking hands or arms or something. If you wanted to cast a magical spell over everybody, I know that is harder to do for larger groups.
It is. Yeah, that's why I was going to have everyone hold hands.
Actually, I need to check something on Yoi, because he's going to say something. So Samurai Yoi, he looks towards the direction of the army. He's like, maybe some of us should stay outside just in case the Barracuda's men go inside the town. Maybe have some of us not go in the town.
There is a town outside of the town as well. We could see what information is available there.
I do have a quick question.
Yeah.
This road seems to go off the map. Is there a bridge further down that connects to this road?
Yeah, there would be. It's probably not immediate, but yeah, for a little bit further down, there'd be a crossing by bridge. Or if you wanted to spend a style point, it could just be off the map. If you want it to be closer.
I was thinking it would be off the map further if there was one. But maybe not too far off the map, actually.
Do you have a preference?
I would want to put a style point in. Because this river here is going to connect back to this river.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that there would probably be some kind of intersection where these join.
How close would you want it to be? Very close to the town, or like a ways up the road?
I guess
it probably was made for the town. They probably redirected the whole river to make that.
Yeah, I imagine they cut that. But this angle here and this angle here is, I was thinking there might be some kind of road intersection there.
Sure. So that's actually pretty close to the town. So yeah, if you want to spend a style point, you can, and there would be a bridge there.
You want to spend it, Eric?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
trying to get the hang of that. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
So, who's staying here and who's going in the town? Shall I roll stealth on all of us? To where we're less visible, but walking by people isn't going to be too... Or should I do to where we look normal?
If you can make it so our weapons aren't visible, that would be ideal. That's going to be their goal. If we just look like normal citizens who happen to be passing through without any weaponry on us, that is ideal. Samurai Yoi, you will take Samurai C and set up in the small town, launch a signal if they're too close, and we will make haste to meet up back here and depart, but keep your eye out for our compatriots.
Okay.
And if you find them, set off the second flare, which I would like to think that one flare is one color and one flare is another. So
Sure.
just distinguishing. Red for danger, green for I found him, something like that.
What about our armor, General? If we go in, we might be, even without our weapons. Should we? He looks concerned. Shall we remove all our armor?
Is this Yoi asking?
No, this is Samurai, Wet Samurai.
Okay. Dripping Samurai has a point. As Samurai Wet asks this question, Kaori will just look to Chang, having not really any understanding of magic outside of her own, to see if he has the ability to hide not only their weapons but their armor as well.
For Becca, I'd say that if you were wanting to try to conceal both armor and people's weapons, I'd say that would probably require 3 successes per person.
Okay.
And then there'd be still the way that the magic is actually supposed to work, which I think I forgot to run it for the previous rolls, but you do have a challenge on how the spell would be, and I'd say it's a low challenge because you're not in any danger. You have enough time to just keep doing it.
Here's the question. Do I have to roll it all as one spell, or can I roll them individually for the stack?
It would have to be one spell, but the way rituals work, because you're a star reader, you can roll subsequent rolls and keep casting until it's completed. It was just how much time is it going to take. So I'd say it'd be a challenge of 2 because you're not really in any danger, and you need 3 successes per person that you're wanting to do it for. So if you want Yoi and Samurai C to basically go to the other village and not go with you, then it would be 3 people because you don't have any armor yourself.
No.
So it'd be Kaori and 2 samurai.
Sorry, I was really distracted by coming up with a Chinese name for him. His name would be Dre, and his last name would be Ping.
For who? Oh,
For
Dripping.
Samurai B. Dre Ping. Ping is a good last name.
That's just so Mulan. I'm gonna name him Ping for you guys.
Yay, Ping!
For drifting.
Okay, so hold on. So your first one, you rolled 8 minus the challenge of 2, so you have 6 successes, which is enough for 2 people. And then the second roll, 6 minus 2 is 4, which is enough for Kaori as well. So it takes a couple minutes to finish this ritual, but there's kind of a facade over you, an illusion of you being more just like, not commoners, but like, your appearance doesn't change visually for your like features, but your clothing and apparel looks much more like just robes or tunics, and it looks like you're concealed. And everybody will get a +4 to your stealth.
For what it's worth, my clothes are pretty normal looking already.
For Yoi, he's trying to think of the best way to get up to this village. And I think they're going to go hang out in this tree line and just wait until the army is kind of out of the way before they try to attempt to go up to the bridge off the map and come back around.
Okay, perfect.
So how do you want to do this? Just walk right up?
Is it still within the time frame of them being distracted by whatever's going on inside the gate?
That's a good point. At this, because of how the ritual would have taken some time to do, the distraction of Kaede and Odoru, that would actually kind of have been concluded at that point. Kaede, are you wanting to stick around with this? Because the two samurai are going with Oduro to go visit the Moon Reader at this point.
I see. I think personally I wouldn't have any investment, though I would say to the guards, I'm still concerned that there's a witch around here. Where are there other guards that I can stay near?
Oh, you could stay with us. Otherwise,
Then I will stay with you.
all right.
Thank you.
Here. And the guard is going to reach into a satchel, and he's going to pull out a piece of chalk, and he's going to lean over to you. Here, this
Do
is...
I know what this is?
You can roll a check for this. This would be empathy, I think, just to kind of like see what his thing is. It's empathy, okay. I'd say.
Okay.
May I also roll?
Yeah, you can roll.
Now I got a 2.
Okay. Let me roll mine.
He's not drawing a weapon, you know that. Odoru, you recognize a technique that this spearman, he's just like a militia, but he's got some sort of folklore on what knows a little bit what he's doing. He pulls out a piece of chalk. It's like just black chalk, and unless you are resisting, he is going to just put a little smudge down your cheek, just a line. And Odoru, you know that this is a technique to combat illusions, to show what is actually like a marking yourself, so you know who is who if you ever find an illusion of some like a clone or something. And this is something that you would know as a monster hunter. This is a technique definitely monster hunters use. And Odoru, if you don't object, you now have just kind of a chalk smear on your cheek. And he's like, this will keep you safe in case we come across that witch again.
Thank you so much.
And you all begin to follow the wagon, Odoru. You are taken back up around the city. The town is beautiful. It's been a while since you've been into a settlement, like you mentioned, and it seems quiet. There's a little bit of a subdued air about it. Like the people aren't really super cheery, but yeah.
Odoru, they aren't trying to. They're not doing it on purpose to like anger the guards. But if there is ever like a chance to, they're definitely they're following along. I think they would probably be walking with the wagon now. The further they get into town, because they are taking their time. They're taking their time in the town, looking and getting used to being in a town around people again, looking at all like the cherry blossom trees, and so they're probably lagging behind. Like, or perhaps they would even ask the guards, do you mind if we take a bit of time? It's been a while since I've spent time in such a town. I would like to familiarize myself again.
Yeah, they don't mind. In fact, there's the tea house right there. If the two guards from the mountain pass, they are just as excited to kind of like be out of the mountains, because it's probably been like 4 months for them on that post with only the 4 of them. So the 2 people who are here in town, one of them is chatting with the guard that Kaede was with, and they're exchanging just stories and whatnot. And if you wanted to just do stuff in the meantime without really like delaying almost before you get to the pagoda up here.
Yeah, they're definitely taking time to familiarize themselves, get back to the feeling of town life.
Yeah, for sure. Did you want to go stop off and get tea?
I think they would, because most of what they've been having in the jungles of the Busho province probably hasn't been as good as civilized tea.
Yeah, that's definitely, it'd be like coming back from deployment almost, and like getting good food.
The food
Eating
is
an-
awful. I will
Eating
say
an
that.
MRE versus eating like an actual home cooked meal.
Yeah, even a cup of noodles at that point. So you stop off and take some time, which means back down here at the gate, it's again kind of back to normal-ish.
I think Kaori would just give a nod towards the bridge and say, as we are now, we have nothing to hide, so let us go.
Okay. So if you begin to approach, crossing over the bridge, it's an interesting sight of the three humans and the elf. Most likely for this charade to make the most sense, probably Chang, you'd be in the front. And as you approach the gate, the guards take notice of you, and I'll have Kaori and Chang both roll stealth checks, and you gain a +4 to this roll.
I'm definitely kind of looking down on them in a
Oops.
completely condescending, just like they are mere mortals, and I shall see their deaths.
The Kaori is trying to play off like the innocent, just kind of like there for the ride, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just playing as innocent as she can, as kind of almost a servitude to the elf.
The guards do take note of you. They do not speak to you. They stand aside, and you pass without any issues. Underneath the illusion, if the camera were to like look from you head on and then swivel around to you from the back, the noticeability of your gear and stuff, not that this is the way the illusion works, but just from one side, the face of you walking in, it's just peasants, and on the back you're all fully equipped samurai walking behind this elf star reader, and you all just walked right through without any issue.
I have a question. Would I have talked to Kaori previously about using the Shogun's banner as a cover? Sorry, the not the Shogun,
The Barracuda.
Barracuda's banner as a cover, if
You
we
mean
needed
as
to.
part of the illusion, or just
in general, like we know she hates him, but how opposed is she to using it as a disguise?
There would be the conversation probably would have happened in private.
Yeah, for sure.
And the conversation would have been rejected at first until it's explained that to sell the illusion that this is where their loyalties need to lie, and that and explaining in a magical sense to somebody who doesn't understand magic how it is very deceiving and that it can be really used to their benefit, and it's even more of a sting to the Barracuda to do something like that with their own banner. You would see a very uncharacteristic from her time as one of the active generals, as one of the 7 generals. You would see a very sadistic smile on her face, and she would actually approve of using his own banner as deception.
Okay.
So for this, are you using the banner? Or you're commoners, so I guess probably not for this specific situation.
Not necessarily this specific
Okay, but
situation. Yeah.
You're keeping that in reserve.
Yeah, if we need to.
Awesome.
It is an option.
So you make it into the city, and Kaori, it's nice to be back in a town in Sekai. You see the roofs and the kind of gardens, the paths all maintained and well kept. The people, it feels like home. It's not your hometown, but it gives you that feeling. For Chang, you've seen several towns like this. It's nothing like the palace. Did you even serve in the palace, actually? If I remember
Me?
correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, he would have served in if the Star Temple is part of the palace, then yes. It probably is not like the inner at all the
Mhm.
inner section of the palace, but it would have been if it was, then he would have been there for part of his training. So
Yeah.
he would know people and such, which is either a bonus or not a bonus depending on the situation.
Yeah. Well, for being in here, this town, it's very pleasant. It's very quaint. It's nothing quite like what the palace would be like, and it is, in your opinion, probably I would assume, much better than the kind of the roughness of Busho Province where you've been recently, and where your family is currently still.
He agrees with that, but also any place safe is a good place to live.
On the outside of the wall, as you begin to walk through the streets and seeing everything, there's that boom, boom, boom of the footbeats of spearmen and samurai and horsemen as the Barracuda's men begin to approach the city walls. There's the noise begins to get louder, Liu Shang Day, as they turn right and cross the bridge. And you hear a detachment of these militia just before they enter into your little group of houses. They veer off, cross through the fields, just ready for harvest, and begin marching, trampling over some of the crops, which is just an unfortunate situation that they do. And they seem to be moving just outside of if you peek out the window, you now see these spearmen all begin to pause right about here. And these are representing like big squads of people, not just one guy. And they begin to break formation, scatter out like ants all on to the left and right and spreading out, and unrolling tents and camp materials, canvas, covers. And Liu Shang Day, I'd like you to roll a perception check, please.
He's watching from the window. It still has the curtains mostly drawn. Not a great perception.
2 is enough to see something. Mounted on one of the horses leading these people, you see an enormous man. He's not like a giant in stature, but he's very muscular, very strong looking, very wide, and he's wearing samurai armor, and his flag is of the Barracuda. It's a purple backdrop with the sign of like a barracuda fish on it, and on his back you recognize, just like your own, a giant katana. And he's barking orders, calling his spearmen, "God dog, get the tents up, make haste!" And he's riding amongst them. And he's got a whip that he unfurls and cracks in the air, not on anybody specifically, but he seems to be getting these troops to make camp right outside not only your village but the house, just in your backyard. There's all these troops.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many crops are over here. Maybe small fields, but I see large fields over by where the others came in at.
That's true. So this
But
is probably grass plains.
But I imagine this group of trees was someplace he would hang out or relax within. But okay.
Probably not relaxing anymore. It probably is going to get beat on a lot.
So this detachment of the army is making camp outside your house. And
you see that one brown tree? Don't recommend going there.
He would stay inside.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna go ask the neighbors what's going on.
Um, yeah, if you go outside for free, you can see there's another detachment of the army kind of coming down, making camp over here, and there's another one moving towards the city. And they open the gates and begin to move into the city itself.
He'd go over to the who I assume is a butcher or in this building over here now, and kind of ask what's going on.
The man looks at you back. His name is Franku. I don't know, Liu Shang. These are the Shogun's men. Perhaps they're just on their way to the front, and they need a place to stay. It is almost end of the day. Perhaps they're just seeking a space in the inn, Venido.
Don't think this many would fit in the inn, but
Oh, that explains why they're camping in our backyard. He's like peeking out his own curtains.
I assume we would have had a chance to move before they get inside the city. Just
Yeah. Which way do you want to go?
probably this way. Probably this place would it have a sign for tavern / lounge? I think that's where they were before.
Yeah, it shows inn and bathhouse. So there's an inn sign. So if you're leading the way
Okay.
that way,
Yeah.
it's
If you tried, Kaori would grab your
Oh yeah.
would grab your cloak and try to pull you down so she can whisper in your ear without being too conspicuous and say, "We need to head to the geisha house. That's where our contact is."
Okay. This way doesn't look like the geisha house, so I would go up.
The geisha house is only one story, so it does not stand out the same way like the pagoda does.
Well, my theory is there's soldiers over here. I want to go away. This isn't right, so we're turning right. There's a wall over here, so I'm basically wandering through town like I know where I'm going.
Okay. Kaori, do you follow Chang's lead?
Yeah, at this point, myself and the other two samurais dressed as just human peasants are basically being human servants. So this is like Chang has the direction. Chang knows now where he's looking to go and kind of a reason why. So we're just gonna follow him as he kind of leads us through town and hopefully gets us to the geisha house.
Okay. There's a kind of a horn blowing, and then the gates they're already open, but you get a last look turning around before you follow around the edge of the opposite side of town, and you see troops beginning to come in. But roll a perception check for me, please. Two, you see at the head of the column, it's far away. It's on the other side of the town now, but it looks like there is all you can really see before ducking around is a mounted elf at the head of this column. And then a moment later, you're around and you don't see anything further. You don't recognize her, but you can see that there is an elf samurai leading that one.
I rolled a perception where I was probably less to actually see what was behind me and more so just to find where I'm going.
Yeah,
I think at where I'm at now, I think I would realize that it's kind of this way, and I don't think they would be there anymore. I think they're inside the building.
You'd roll a investigation check, please.
Investigation check, okay. Investigation. Oh, that sucked.
Okay.
So bad.
Going with your natural instinct, you go up into this kind of small area, and then you realize there's a bridge there, and yeah, you can start moving up there. I will pause for you guys, and I'd like to know, Odoru, your not feasting, but you're enjoying the niceties of this this tavern, this tea house, and you seem to have a new friend who's asking you about witches.
Yeah, they are having some polite conversation with Kaede. Was that it?
Yeah, you got it right.
Talking about, asking about the so-called witch of the town, and they would mention their own, how they were told from their master how some monsters of the land use illusionary magics, but that they never encountered something like that. They would have also wished them the best of luck and would say would offer their own protection if needed, being a ranked monster hunter of Sekai.
I think knowing what the whole situation is with monster hunters and the Barracuda's new laws, I think Kaede would accept that offer for Odaru's services with an ulterior motive, obviously.
And of course, Odoru would introduce themselves. They introduce themselves, Odoru, Hanabira. They would also say, most people, including my family, tend to call me the Dancing Petal or just Dancing Petal. It is your choice. I will not be offended by either name.
I will. Would Dancer work for you, or would you prefer the full title or the full name?
Normally, I go by the full title, should people choose to use it. I have never heard anyone call me Dancer before. I wasn't exactly the best, but I tried.
If you think you're a dancer, the geisha house is across the street. The spearman laughs and then sips his tea. He kind of gulps down the rest and kind of stands up. Well, we should probably get you to the Moon Reader.
Ah, yes. What was the name of the one that I was speaking to originally up at the mountain? I want to write that down, but I never did.
Was it Sai, I think?
It is Sai.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would ask him, being very kind, Odoru's nothing but manners. They would ask, I do apologize once again asking about all these new rules. You see, the last time I was in these lands and I wasn't on a hunt, the hunters swore fealty to themselves. Has that changed under new rule?
Are you asking the guard or Kaede?
They're asking Asai.
Yeah, since the Shogun has become, risen to power, we've not had any Ronin in Sekai. Everybody must pledge fealty to, unless you wish to give up your arms or leave.
I understand. Just one more question before we go. And Odoru would pull out. I would imagine they would have a map of at least the old areas that they were familiar with.
On what scale? Like all of Sekai, or just this town, or?
I would imagine maybe not all of Sekai, but at least regional to where they were, like the hunters' temple that they were trained at.
Yeah.
So they would pull out that and show it to Sai and ask, and then kind of just lay it out so anyone could really see, and ask, point towards the temple and say, do you know how long of a travels it would be to arrive here? I need to speak with my master once I've dealt with any business here in town.
He eyeballs it, and these days traveling is more and more difficult. But are you're on foot, right? Are you going to buy a horse?
If it moves me faster, yes.
I'd say probably less than a week, depending on how many stops, or maybe as fast as 3 or 4 days by horse.
Well, that is good to know. Thank you all for the tea. And he would say to they would say to Sai, I would quite like my weapons back. Where is this reader of yours?
Yeah, they're at the pagoda.
Well then, lead the way.
So you exit the tea house. The spearmen, the two other guards at this point, they are going to separate unless Kaede, if you want them to stay, are you also going to separate, or you're kind of two sets of groups?
I think I'll ask Odoru if I can follow them to the temple. They seem to be pretty knowledgeable about monster hunting, and other than the fact that I have ulterior motives, I do genuinely find that interesting.
You're more than welcome to travel along with me, as long as you both do not mind mentioning.
Well, we shall leave you in their capable hands. If we see you, we will look for your mark. He nods towards your cheek. Be safe, little girl.
I wink at them, and you too.
They will make their way back. The others.
My internet cut out. What did you hear me say last?
You wanted to get your weapons back and get it over with to the pagoda. Take the
Okay,
tea, or
that was the last thing you heard me say. Okay, because I kept talking, and what I said was I was going to say to the guards, surely another traveler wouldn't hurt, inviting Kaede to walk with them.
I didn't hear that, unfortunately, but I did now. So you begin to make your way towards here, and at that point, not far behind you, as you come up, you see the wagon still like carrying the weapons, but the spearmen kind of on foot beside it at this point. Actually, one of them would be in the wagon, but if Odoru is walking alongside, one spearman's out, and Kaede following as well, making their way up towards the tower.
Right.
Obviously, I would point it out to Kaori. Which one's the tower? Number 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a tall tower. You can see that from outside the walls.
Cool.
And it would probably be obvious because they're not, as I said previously in their description, they're not attempting to hide it. If you saw them walking down the street, you would notice amongst this group, Odoru is an elf.
Do I recognize any of them? Like, within my network of people I've known or know of?
That's a very interesting question.
Specifically, any star readers or...
Roll, what would this be? Investigation, but I'm going to give you a +2 on this. Okay. As you're walking, you notice there's the elf. You don't so much recognize. Actually, being an elf, you might actually recognize Odoru. But I don't think like you knew each other or anything. But maybe you knew their father.
They do have a house symbol painted on part of their armor.
Yeah, you definitely would recognize that. The nobility is familiar with each other enough to recognize House of the Petal, if I remember correct.
That is correct. House of the Petal.
Do I know any of their family members that left for a while and haven't been around before we left?
Not within the past year, specifically.
Okay. Okay.
You know that their father. Shoot, Pi, help me.
Their father is named Hageshi Hanabira, or you'll see a pattern here. Odoru is known as the Dancing Petal. Hageshi Hanabira is known as the Fierce Petal.
And what was he wasn't a star reader, right? He's just a noble.
Mm-hmm. The star reader was Odoru's great-great-great-grandmother.
Right. So
Which probably was still alive for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So Chang,
that's who taught him.
You would probably know her.
His great
like actually know her, but you know the name, and then you recognize the symbol. But that's not what you notice as the most interesting thing about the street. There's the two guards. You don't know them. It doesn't matter. But you've seen that girl. You remember Shu used to play with her. Like they're not the same age, but you've definitely seen her before back in the capital.
Is there a way for me to magic whisper to her without anyone else catching on it? Or do I know that they're like looking for magic in the area?
Oh, I don't know. Do you want to try?
You
want to make a perception check?
This place.
A sneaky look back and forth down the street. Yeah, you see that there's two guards walking opposite from you back this way. And there's people around. Like the tea house probably wouldn't be right in front of there, the best place to start doing star reading. But maybe there's, this house here is walled. Technically, so is this one, I think.
Would Kaede be looking around at all and see us or me?
Yeah, I was about to follow up with that. If they're with a wagon, it's not like they're being quiet, but they do look, normal enough in the town. But I guess I would look back, see this snobby looking elf, and be like, a noble. Wait a second, I know that noble.
Go ahead and roll a perception as well, and see if you look back and put face to memory.
Okay. And I'll do this with 0 modifiers.
Yeah, you look back. Yeah, exactly like you just said.
And I kind of shoot Chang a look, and I think that would cause me to look to see who's traveling with Chang.
Okay. Roll for me also, Kaede, a history check, please.
Okay.
Kaede also has the charcoal. Would she see the weapons?
I don't have. I see what you're saying.
For illusions.
For the perception, what did you all roll your stealth checks way up there, right? Chang rolled a 5. The samurai rolled a 4. And the 2 was +1, so he rolled a 3. Kaori rolled a 6. So 5. So with a 5 perception, you would actually see everybody's through everybody's illusion except for Kaori's. So yeah, you see the two samurais have their samurai standing behind Kaori and the Sun Reader.
As Chang is walking, he would put his hand over his lips and just kind of lower it again. As a we're coming here quietly kind of signal.
Okay. I'll like this is weird.
Style point for Kaori.
Please do it.
What? Oh, Pawn.
They need to switch spots.
Quick, swaparoo. Sorry, I didn't interrupt.
Oh, Jesus.
Style point. I demand style point.
Just gave her a style point. Oh man. So So everybody's still kind of proceeding towards the pagoda, and Kaede and Chang, you see each other, finger to the lips. Shh. Kaede, what do you do, or if anything?
I think I would probably take note that Chang is in town, and I would probably I'm not very stealthy, so I'm just gonna nod and continue walking with these guards and Odaru towards the Moon Temple. But I'll probably be looking for them later. I think that's kind of interesting.
Okay. So you guys will proceed to here. What about the Chang and Kaori and Ping and Pong? You're muted, Beck.
We probably would just go in the geisha house.
Okay. So you wish to kind of disappear inside?
Yeah, I think Kaede,
Yeah.
Kaede would probably see us.
Yeah.
As soon as we go inside, Carrie's not paying any attention to Chang making googly eyes at somebody. So she
No googly eyes
just-
are made. He's married.
she beelines inside, and she goes straight to the counter where I'd like to think that there's a fan there that's kind of for decoration, it being a geisha house. And she grabs the fan and does a technique that Owaski taught her
Ooh.
as a symbol for who who she's aligned with, and to get an audience with the head geisha to learn the whereabouts of Liu Shang and the prince.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, that will be a diplomacy roll with a +2.
Oh God, I'm so bad at diplomacy. Can I make an argument for warfare?
You could have me do the
Let
negotiating.
me see real quick.
Or
Right, yeah, you can't roll diplomacy.
How about you stand here and wave your fan around, and I will to them.
Well, would empathy work?
Yeah, I think I would take empathy over warfare.
Did you hear me?
No, sorry, what'd you say?
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I could roll the diplomacy, and you could do your fun technique.
The likeness of Kaori sharing the code information with you is not very high because you haven't been involved long enough. And the less information that you know, the safer you are.
Yeah, that's true. Can I just
I'm-
and give an assist with my +7 rating?
I will let you give an assist, but actually I'm going to say not empathy because that's really more like insight and stuff. I'm going to say warfare actually is the better substitute because it's more like tactics that kind of fits in, even though you don't have streetwise or the diplomacy really doesn't. That role would not work well.
You wouldn't have to know.
No, it would not. It would not work at all.
So
She wouldn't have to know all the details if she just was helping you get an audience with the head geisha.
And could I come in and say, please, this is urgent. We do require this.
yeah,
In my diplomatic manner of elfiness.
yeah. So go ahead and roll the warfare with the +2 assist from Chang.
4.
Yeah. The geisha who kind of greets you bows low, and recognizing the symbol of the thing, and also the fact that there's an elf lord in the house, she will go get Milady Gwen right away, and bids you all enter into the foyer. And
Quick side note: when you do a modifier, I don't think you're supposed to add the plus to it. Are you?
yeah,
Did you add a plus?
It puts plus. It doesn't actually matter.
I think it does, Adrian.
No, I don't think so. I think it's a unnecessary. It's not necessary, which is why we don't. But it doesn't harm it if it does. If it is
I
there.
think the +2 automatically adds 2 to the success instead of rolling the 2.
Are you
Instead of
sure?
just putting 2 in. I think it does. Not that I'm saying you should re-roll.
No.
That's a test roll. This one actually did show up at the average.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, that looks so weird. But either way, you would have succeeded. So.
Okay,
Some of
for
them, one of them has a +2, but most time it just says 2
Yeah.
in the modifier.
But yeah,
so-
don't add plus to it when you
So-
do it.
Got it.
for moving forwards, just in case the math gets messed up, no pluses, only minuses.
Only bads. Got it.
So you guys get to the geisha house, Liu Shang Day, back in the village. You're surrounded by tents and soldiers, and it's loud, it's obnoxious. OG doesn't seem to like the noise, and he's a little toddler, and Sato's trying to get him to bed early, and it's not really going super good. What would you do? What would you like to do?
I'd go back in and explain that hopefully they just hear the camp and then move on. He's gonna tell make sure the room's mostly soundproof, right? It has to be pretty close to here.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about being overheard unless they're like creeping up to listen, like trying to specifically try to spy on you. It doesn't seem like that's really what they're doing.
Actually, this is a good moment. He would go in and it's like I'm sorry, it's loud. Would you like to hear? Would you like to hear a bedtime story?
I don't know if I'm gonna make you actually roll a diplomacy. I think you could just do it. Yeah, he calms down a little bit. He looks up at
He
his.
wouldn't say it too loud, but he would tell him one of his favorite bedtime stories of the mighty warrior. Oh, why am I blanking on the name already again?
Gekido?
So the last stand of Gekido.
Yeah. OG really, really likes that story, and Sato, I think, does she have art for painting?
She
Yeah,
should have
she
it if
does.
she doesn't.
She had a lot of like art and music training and.
Go ahead and roll. Actually, if she's got music, go ahead and roll music check. Or no, performance singing instrument for Sato.
Performance. Okay. Instrument. I could sing too.
Yeah, if you've got the skill, roll it. I want to see how this is going, as it's not quite sundown.
Is that roll right? Because for instrument,
Oh.
that doesn't seem great for instrument. And I have. I mean, he's not a major performer, but he does have I did put 1 rank in singing. He has a decent singing voice.
Do it. Sato's nervous. Like she literally is performing because she doesn't feel like doing this. She does not like the fact that they're surrounded, and in the background, it's you start to try to sing this lullaby story, and in the background, you hear hammering of them staking down their tents, the shouts of the big samurai guy. Yeah, it's OG is not going to bed, so it's any of the fussing that he has is not necessarily out of place because you're in a village, but yeah, the people outside. Oh man. You want me to bring in Usui to sing him the lullaby?
That one's got pretty good ranks and it just rolled lots of ones and yeah.
Yeah.
I only have 1 rank, but both times they're below average.
Wow. You have style points, and actually we're coming up on the end of the session. So style points are use it or lose it. So if you want, you can throw in style points to beef up some rolls. And
Yeah, let's use. Let's use let's use 2 style points on for Sato's performance and 1 on mine.
Okay.
And then so that looks like a +1 to each of them, so 2 on each.
Yeah, that's about as good as you expect for the circumstance, and an OG eventually does kind of stop being sad, and you get him down for an unrestful evening potentially. Meanwhile, at the pagoda, there's an old man kind of comes out to greet you, seeing the wagon with the 2 soldiers and Odoru and Kaede, and he raises a hand in greeting, and the spearmen kind of come up and says, "We seek the moon reader. Where is he? Are you him?" And the old man kind of just shakes his head. "No, there's no moon readers in the village. I am Pacho. I am I just remembered where I got that name from. I am a star reader for this village. But there's no moon readers." The guards look a little concerned, and they look over at Odoru. "Well, that causes a complication."
Is this going to be a problem? Surely 1 reader could suffice.
"Are you able to perform an oath of fealty?" The star reader looks at them both. It's like, "I can accept a verbal oath. That is the extent of my ability to assist." The spearmen look at each other. Both of you 2 roll an empathy check.
Okay.
You can both also roll a star rating check, though. This wouldn't be for a spell.
All right.
Or actually, do you have academics religion, either of you?
I have academics law.
And I only have history.
Roll a religion check, which would be at a -2. That should be calculated on your character sheets already, if you have an academics.
All right, so roll the base skill.
Oh.
So, for your empathy checks, both of you can tell that this is not according to what they were expecting. They're very off-put. They were expecting to be able to have this whole situation completed and swear this Ronin into service of the Shogun, the Barracuda. But something's definitely not right. Now, for Kaede, you are not super familiar with all the different types of procedures and stuff, but the reason that they're probably not wanting a star reader to do it, maybe they were looking specifically for a moon reader, kind of with what's happened is a lot of the moon readers either were affiliated or served the Barracuda directly, and that there's not a lot of popularity amongst the Barracuda with star readers right now, and so that could go into that. But it's also probably there's some sort of spell intertwined with this oath of fealty that they're looking for. And if he's not willing to do it, and when he says it's verbal only, there's probably no actual obligation to an oath like that. Whereas if it was maybe something mixed with magic.
I see. And would that empathy check, would that allow me to understand that even if this guy could do it, he wouldn't do it, or is that the extent of the information that I have?
With a 4, I'd say yes, that is accurate.
Okay.
This man does not want to serve the shogun in any shape or form. He's in a
Got
position where he's the village reader, but that doesn't mean he's a supporter of the shogun.
Got it.
If I see the guards with my empathy kind of being like, oh, I don't really like this. It's a star reader, not a moon reader. Odoru would speak up, and if Sai is still here, they would talk to him and say, well, perhaps we could wait for a moon reader, if you would not mind. If it works for all parties included, I could take my weaponry, and while it would only be a verbal oath, I could offer that I do not unwrap my weapons. I could leave them here with this reader. I could stay with this reader until an appropriate one could arrive. You will know where I am staying in town. I would not cause trouble. It's not what I want.
This is a good plan. And he nods, and you can tell that rapport with him is pretty high. You're not causing trouble as other Ronin that they have dealt with have, and you're being completely reasonable. So, yes, we could leave it not with the Moon Reader. We must take it to. He looks around. Is there not a? Well, the town guard. We'll take it to the town guard. He looks around.
Talking about the weapons?
Yes.
Do you mind if I keep at least one? You see, the naginata, it is used in hunter rituals. I can offer my services to the guard here as well. If there's a witch in town, I would need at least one of my weapons to perform rituals in order to track it, and leave the rest to you.
He looks very uncomfortable at this idea. However,
Diplomacy.
you've been a very good, not prisoner, person that they have to escort. This would still be a hard check because of the way the Sekai is, but I will say you can roll a diplomacy check. It'd be a 5 instead of a 6.
Okay.
Come on, Pi. Do this.
It's going to be rough, but I'm going to pump every single one of my style into it.
That's where the style dragons go, to the last big rolls of the game.
So that is 4. Hopefully we can do this. Would I get any additional bonuses for just having been friendly this entire time?
It was going to be a 6, but now it's a 5, so you got a less difficult roll.
Okay. So hopefully I can do something here.
Unless...
Yes!
And in this request, despite asking for the larger weapon that they gave forth, they would have given them the bow, the arrows, the tanto, and the naginata. They would still say, I will only unwrap this weapon under the guard provision should anyone come to me needing these hunting rituals done. You have my word otherwise that the weapon will remain within the pagoda, nice and wrapped. But the larger of the weapon is the one that is needed for the rituals.
The second guard, we don't have a name for him, do we?
We do not.
Oh, this was supposed to be diplomacy.
Oh, I did roll empathy. Oops.
Okay, but I'm going to pause you before you roll. Kaede, you're here too, and you're watching this happen. You can see the two guards. Sai looks like he's about to grab the pole arm. The other guy does not look approving at all, but Sai does outrank him. And it looks like everything's going to happen unless this roll does need to be redone.
Yeah, that's an oopsie. They're right on top of each other.
Is there anything Kaede wants to do as an observer of the situation?
Yeah, I think I would kind of say passively, like more to suggest rather than to, say this is how we should do it. Because Kaede would say, with that witch running around, it probably is a good idea, and probably the most responsible idea for the town guard to have a subject matter expert capable of handling the situation should it come to that. This Ronin has seemed to be very reasonable in the time that we've stayed with them.
Kaede, is your diplomacy at least a 4?
Yes.
So Odoru, you can re-roll your diplomacy with your foresight
Yeah, that was
points and a plus
that was
2 assist.
oopsies. Empathy, diplomacy's right above empathy, and I clicked on the wrong one.
I've done the same thing, and I rolled a natural 20.
All right, well, here we go now for the 6.
The one guard Sai he reaches for it, and then the other just says, Sai, no. They must swear fealty to the Shogun.
With a 4, if I see this happening with a 4, because I originally requested the larger blade, could I then try and turn that into, would you at least let me wield, well, not wield, but hold on to the smaller of the blades? It will not be as useful in the greater rituals, but it could still be used to find this witch of yours.
He looks at you, Sai. He's like, come on, they're not going to be a problem. And then the Star Reader just turns around and starts going inside. He doesn't want to be a part of anything that could get him in trouble. The second spearman.
I do not mean to make trouble. It seems you already have trouble enough in this town. I'm simply offering my services as a ranked hunter, but one of those weapons would be needed should you require my assistance.
Looking at the guard that's giving you more of the attitude, I will need you to just roll another diplomacy, I'm afraid.
Okay. Click the right one this time.
Does he still get the +2 for Kaede?
Does Kaede want to speak up again?
Yeah, I would say if the primary weapon is too much of a concern, there needs to be some sort of temporary replacement. Is there not any room in your procedures for a temporary supplementary weapon?
Okay. So, Kaede, if you can roll just 2 dice, evens or successes.
Just 2. Okay.
Yeah, this would be the bonus for Odoru's roll.
Okay.
He just looks super firm. We can't make exceptions to the law. The law is the law. The Barracuda has spoken. I will take your weapons to the town guard, and as soon as the Moon Reader comes, we can take it.
I understand. All I ask is if you do require assistance with any supernatural troubles within this town, that you would at least allow me one weapon within the supervision of the guard. That's not, just to be clear, that's not me asking for the weapon. That's, if you need me, at least bring me one of my weapons.
Yeah. Sai will also kind of step over and say, here. We get to stay here in Ida until the Moon Reader comes. Go have a drink of sake. I will watch them. I will be responsible until we can get, Odoru to join our ranks. And you, if the witch comes back, he's talking to Kaede, you can stay with us. I'm a trained soldier. I'd be happy to assist. And with our combined power, you shall be safe.
That's quite reassuring. And I actually do have lodging at the inn if our visitor doesn't have a room.
Considering that I know you do not, lead the way.
Yes, I do not have lodging yet. I was planning on staying with the Star Reader, but perhaps a more formal bed would be nice. And Odoru would look at Sai, kind of put their hands together, do a quick bow, and say, "You are a kind man, Sai. Please take care of my weaponry."
The other guard, who is about to take it, but Sai will take the cue and kind of seize the weapons. I got this, don't worry. And as you begin to make your way back, you hear the boots of soldiers. And both of you, please roll perceptions.
Okay.
Kaede, and Odoru, you both see coming up from the south street is a detachment of soldiers. There's a samurai at the head, and she is mounted, and she's got a banner of the purple moon behind her, attached to her saddle. So, kind of riding up from the area towards the plaza there, you see her riding up.
Odoru would ask Sai, is that your banner? Again, apologies, I have not seen this before.
Yes, hi, this is the Shogun Moon. And he will immediately, kind of just set the weapons back down into the wagon, and, the other guard will begin to move it up to the north part of the thing so it's out of the way, as obviously there's a detachment of troops coming up. Here, step aside, step aside. They will usher you up to here to the corner as they're coming up. Kaori, what would you like to do?
So, in my conversation with the head geisha, in her private quarters,
Yes.
so we could speak a little bit more freely than normal, I would inquire about them providing us safe passage out of town to the area where Liu Shang, Sato, and OG are. And I would like to spend all of my style points to either have there be a passageway that's already been built in case something happened in the town and they needed to get all the geishas out, that happens to exit around that same area of that smaller town on the outside, or at least gets them outside of the city.
Okay. So I wouldn't make you need to spend all of those, but if you want, you can, and then that would just make it so that there is indeed more of a tunnel. But there's already the canal, which would be deep enough to where you could go through boat, kind of hidden underneath ground level, just going underneath all the way to this exit. Or you could just, if you want it to be that they have an underground tunnel separate to that, we could do that too.
I would go
Ideally,
with
6 style
forest.
points is a lot, so.
leading specifically to the forest.
Yeah, so I would spend all 6 of my style points because, like you said, it's use them or lose them. To have there be a tunnel exit that takes the geishas safely out of town, and out to a forest where they could go, and out to the forest where they could go into hiding. So that way we were in, we were in town, but there's no trace of us actually leaving.
Okay. So 6 style points, I'd say, if you wanted to go all the way to this forest.
Yeah,
You
bring
could-
us all the way out there.
That's a big buy, and happy to do it. So yes, the matron Gwen, she notifies you of this, and if there's an urgent need, you can indeed leave Edo without any of the troops coming. Are you aware there is supposed to be an influx of troops, soldiers, and samurai from the Barracuda coming to Edo?
The presence is already here. We heard them storming their way up the mountaintop as brutes traditionally do. However, their reasoning is unknown to us. Do you know why?
They are coming to recruit. They're going to take many of the people of Edo into their ranks, I'm afraid. This is my worry. We have gotten word from the capital that the Barracuda is doing this with many of the different outlying towns to swell his ranks in his army.
Can I totally spend a style point to say that?
To say that what? Sorry, I cut out.
To say that my old character is the one who has the networks going for information.
Oh, of course it's Iwaski.
Okay, do I need to spend a style point for that?
No, that was already factored in.
Perfect.
Are they gearing up for another attack on the battle line? Is that why they're recruiting people and taking such untrained individuals?
I'm sure that is their end purpose. There's also talk of the Barracuda trying to create a new set of soldiers, but I'm not sure what that is.
What is the general consensus of the Barracuda within this town? Is he fully supported, or is there doubt among the citizens here?
Within the walls, there's less reason to dislike the Barracuda for what's going on because it's easier to forget. But we're so close to the mountains. There's a lot of the monsters that are around here. I would say that more than not, the Barracuda is not loved.
Interesting. I think that may work in our favor. But for now, we should make haste out of the city. Our overall goal has yet to be achieved, but this is good information to have. Thank you.
She bows, of course. Will you take refuge tonight in the geisha house?
Around what time of day is it?
It's like after
It was
dinner time.
Dinner time earlier.
Yeah. So depending on when people eat, probably still like only 6 to 7 o'clock. Sundown would still be like an hour away at least.
Okay, so my next question would be to the head geisha. Do you still have working relations with Sato? Would it be considered normal to summon her to the geisha house?
Sato. From the village?
Yes.
Yes, we know Sato. I don't see her regularly, but it would not be unheard of for us to visit or request her to come to us.
A visit, you say? Oh, Owaski, if you were here to see what I am about to suggest. Okay. And there's just a complete look of just utter disgust across Kaori's face for what she's about to say, and she kind of presses her fingers against her temple, and she says, "Okay, who gather the geishas that traditionally go and request audiences with others, and dress me accordingly to be part of the entourage, and we will go get Sato."
You're gonna dress up like a training girl.
The
What are they called?
the
The
two
apprentices?
samurai, Ping and Pong, are not going to be the Mulan geisha. They decide they do not want to go with you for this.
That's completely fine. She expects to go alone with other geishas from the geisha house. So the overall goal, which will probably be addressed in next session, is dressing Kaori up yet again as a geisha and going with geishas to essentially summon Sato and hopefully be able to smuggle Oji into the geisha house and then funnel them out. That's kind of the general story that she's giving everybody as the current plan.
Okay.
I would assume Kaori is recognizable to a certain degree as somebody who is
Like wanted.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm wondering if it might be advantageous to change my spell to be something that changes her face.
You could try, though, with the geisha makeup. That too would also kind of
That's
help
true.
with that.
You don't need that. You have makeup.
Ton of makeup.
Your face is no longer the
Excessive
same
and
color it
caked
once
on.
was.
I still have her old geisha token too.
So, Odoru, I would like you to roll another history. You said you have law, right?
I have law.
Do you have enough points to roll for history as well?
Who? I don't think so. I mean, my base is 3 for academics.
Yeah, so you can that probably wouldn't be super good. You can roll it if you want. Do you have? Let me. I just need to see your character sheet myself.
I need to use some style points on something.
So that'd be 1.
Man, donate some to me.
Can I donate some style points to him?
Considering we're just about done, if you want to.
I have 5 style points. How many do you want to use? All 5 of them? 1,
I mean,
2, 3. You're not saying stop. 4.
I'm not. I mean,
5. Oh no! I'm
oh no!
I would let you roll. Well, I mean, if you're just going to use the style point, then it really would be a history check.
Yeah, so I'll just do base minus the -2 with a +3.
Yeah, and I just put in your out the door would be the rating is correct. So rating
Okay, cool.
and plus whatever your style points are.
So then here's an academics, base academics +3, -2 from +5 down to -3. Shaboom.
Okay, so you recognize someone coming up on the samurai horse, leading these troops up, is an elf girl. She's probably younger than you, but still over 100, so not really like she's a youth. But coming up, she's got on her headdress the 2 horns sticking up, and she's flying under the Barracuda's banner, or the Shogun Moon's banner specifically, and she's adorned in full samurai armor, leading the troops. And you know that she is from the courts that you are used to be familiar with. You've seen her there before. So back during when Shogun's son was still ruler, she was still kind of part of that regime. Only now she's flying under the moon banner. And as she kind of comes up into the courtyard, she just immediately rides over and dismounts while the troops are kind of coming up to stand in formation. And yeah, she's got probably about 60 militia kind of all standing in a row. And she calls out for the Star Reader. And you're all just kind of on the sidelines, along with other villagers at this point. She doesn't seem to pay any attention to you. And as the Star Reader comes out, she says, "In the name of the Shogun, you are under arrest." Star Reader bow for treason against the Shogun Moon. And then immediately the soldiers come over, surround him, and arrest him.
Can Kaede kind of walk into a dark alley, like maybe over here, while all this is going on?
This would be a stealth check.
I mean, there's a crowd, right?
That's true, and the Sai is more focused on Odoru, so
You have a ton of style points as well that you can spend.
I know.
I'd say I'd still want you to roll a stealth to see if the immediate soldiers notice you kind of slinking off, but they might not do anything, and because of the crowd, I'll give you a bonus to the roll.
Also,
Okay.
you did see us go in the geisha house. I'm not sure
Yeah.
how acquainted are we between us.
I think according to my backstory, you probably know me pretty well.
How old are you?
I'm 15.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably played with my son when he was little, and if you're a star reader, I probably taught you a few tricks.
How old was Chang again?
He's like 11. Oh, Chang is 70.
Damn, man, I thought I was the youth elf. I'm the old man?
Well, my dad was like 700. So
Oh, well, in the party, I'm the old man?
you are the old man.
I thought I was gonna be the youth. I'm 188.
So they are male.
Good age, good age.
All right, so
yes, he's male.
I'm gonna throw one style point to bump up this stealth. But
You get a +2 already too from just the circumstance.
okay, so it's gonna be +3 then. So I had asked a question like probably near the beginning of the thing, but is my magic actually star reading?
Depends on what you're trying to do with the magic.
Oh no, I don't mean like star reading or samurai steel. I meant like star reading or sun reading.
I don't remember what you said. I thought you said star reading. Was it?
No, I think it's supposed to be sun reading.
If it's supposed to be sun reading, that's what I actually thought I was originally, but
Oh.
then I thought I got corrected. If it's sun reading,
That is really outlawed if you caught it.
yeah.
Well-
So you can correct that on your sheet. That's what I thought it was originally, but then I thought you corrected me at one point. I think I might have been mistaken.
No one in this group's gonna be angry about Sun Reader, but if NPCs figure it out, that's gonna be bad news bears for you.
All right, so yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
if
make
that's
that
the case, then
yeah,
that's pretty
Could
cool.
be
I'm gonna give you a style point for that, so don't have to you spend that one.
Oh, okay.
He already spent
If
it.
you already did, then here, have it back.
Okay, I'll put it back.
Use it now.
Oh, okay, that works. Okay. Oh, I have something in mind. So stealth check just to see if
Yeah,
people
to see if anybody
away.
of notices you leaving.
And submit.
Okay. Yeah, it's good enough to avoid with the commotion going on. It's not a terribly difficult thing to just kind of blend away. There's enough people around, and the commotion of now what's apparent is an arrest. Yeah, you get away.
Okay, so I'm gonna go here and make sure that no one's around.
Okay.
And I would like to, having seen what this star reader looks like, I want to conjure a giant frickin' eagle to swoop up and grab him.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this would be a ritual. So you'd roll sun reading, and then for the amount of successes that you need, how big? You like Lord of the Rings giant? Okay, I think that would be. I haven't looked at your roll. I think that would be a total of 5 successes that I'm going to say you need to accomplish.
Very well, and I burn all my style points.
Okay. Oh, a challenge for this for big would be 3, which is exactly so 8 minus the 3 challenge. That's 5 success points.
Let's do it.
So insert the eagle noise, which I'm not going to try to replicate. And the guards are like kind of carrying him by both arms, similar to what they were just doing to you a moment ago. But this eagle kind of like manifests out through the clouds, dive bombing down. The spearmen kind of all duck with terror. The elf girl just looks up, does not flinch, but just watches it happen as the eagle grabs the Star Reader bow in its arms and just takes off.
Did you have a destination for where he was planning to go?
Probably towards the non-militarized zone, the demilitarized zone. I suspect that like the border between the rebellion and the Barracuda is generally well known, but yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
One.
Seeing this, I think Odoru, they're used to strange occurrences, and so they would look at Sai or whoever I imagine is panicking, and they would just say, "I think you have much worse than a witch in town. May I please have my weapons?"
Roll a diplomacy for Sai with a +4. He just reaches down to the cart, lifts the glaive, and passes it to you while just watching the eagle soar off into the distance.
Yeah, and the wrapping around the glaive, like in one swift motion, is immediately pulled off. It's flipped in position, like with a kick, and Odoru is ready with the Naginata.
So in this this plaza, I think we're gonna have the camera zoom out a little bit, following this giant eagle. Odoru now armed, the samurai elf Aika. She's just watching it. Inside the geisha temple, we've got Chang. I don't know. Are you just waiting in the lobby, or are you? What are you
No,
doing?
honestly, Chang probably would have gone and had tea with the geisha as they're performing,
Okay,
but only out of like, if he doesn't do that, it's really awkward.
So you're you're being entertained in a completely good way, not anything weird. And Kaori is in the back. You're actually with the two samurai guys. They're also probably
I'm with Ping Pong.
yeah. They probably would also get out of their armor and stuff at this point if they have a kind of a refuge to stay in. And Kaori in the geisha room, they are decorating you, getting you all made up and ready. And out in the courtyard, the eagles just swooped in and taken the Star Reader. And Liu Shang, you kind of look out, and I'll have you roll another perception check. See.
I was gonna say, as this, the camera was zooming out, you're seeing all this. Just the song of the lullaby is singing of the tale is singing in the background.
That's great. That's enough to like kind of notice all this. You also see, watching from outside, is a red-robed another girl, and she's looking up at the eagle flying away with the Star Reader.
Why does that look familiar?
She looks evil, is what she looks like. She looks like
Yeah.
an evil moon reader.
He does look evil, but is that someone we met before?
They
I
don't
don't think
look familiar.
so.
Lu Shengde does not
I think the art
personally
looks
recognize
familiar.
her. It's from Google. Sorry, Google.
It looked vaguely familiar, like maybe someone we fought and escaped from before. But
Wait,
luckily wrong.
I think you're right. I think she was one of the didn't we pull like a Mulan at one point where Kaori brought down like a mountain? I think this was the person that was leading those troops.
That would be really cool. I admit I have no memory of using this token before, but
I do remember that avalanche.
she survived. That's where we're going to stop for today. So, thank you all for playing in the Ronin campaign again. We will pick up in a couple weeks and see what happens next with the secret tunnel, Liu Shengde and Sato and Prince OG/Owen, Odoru and Kaede. and Chang. We will see what happens next time.